What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Pitching Ninja's Filthiest Pitches of the Day. Remember, before I get to those pitches, hit that subscribe button. Never miss an episode of the biggest and best daily baseball show on YouTube. And now, without further ado, here are my filthiest pitches of the day. I'm going to start with Graham Ashcraft, who had these sliders and two-seamer on his way to 4 strikeouts in 6 scoreless innings. Just a very solid outing from Ashcraft again. He was up against Matt Strom, who had 6 Ks in 2 2/3 innings. He did give up 3 runs, but had these sliders and fastball. Roansy Contreras had 6 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 2 runs and had these sliders. Steven Matz had this changeup and fastballs on his way to 6 strikeouts at 5 2/3 innings, giving up 2 runs. Michael Kopech had 4 Ks in 5 innings. He did give up 3 runs, but had this slider and fastball. He was up against Kyle Gibson, who only had 1 K, but it was this pretty sweeper. Seth Lugo had his normal high spin rate curveballs. I think this one was 3,300 RPMs. He had 5 Ks in 3 2/3 innings, giving up 3 runs. Freddie Peralta had this electric 97-mile-an-hour fastball, but other than that, didn't pitch all that great, giving up 5 runs. Anthony DeSclafani had these nasty two-seamers and had 5 Ks in 6 2/3 innings. Shintaro Fujinami had electric stuff with these splitters and upper 90s fastballs. Here's an overlay of his fastball and splitter, and you can see why that combo can be tough on hitters. His splitter does a really good job of tracking the plane of the fastball and then drops. Fuji probably has the most electric stuff of any A's starter, which honestly isn't saying all that much, but it's not shown in his ERA, which is 11.37. I expect him to continue to improve throughout the year. Braxton Garrett had these wicked sliders and had 5 Ks in 5 2/3 innings, giving up only 4 hits and 1 run. He faced off against Ryan Nelson, who had 4 Ks, giving up 1 run in 6 innings and had this pretty changeup. Jameson Taillon was really sharp with 7 Ks in 5 innings, giving up no runs and only 2 hits. He had this cutter, two-seamer, and slider. And he battled Michael Grove, who had these sliders and painted fastball, and also looked really sharp, with 6 Ks in 5 2/3 innings, giving up only 1 run on 2 hits. Bryce Elder had these changeups, including this one that was perfectly painted, and this slider on his way to 4 Ks in 5 1/3 innings. Hunter Brown looked really good again, with these high-velo sliders and knuckle curves, and had 5 Ks in 7 innings, giving up no earned runs. He dueled John Gray, who had these fastballs but had to leave the game after getting hit by a comebacker. Gray's okay, though, and isn't expected to miss a start. George Kirby only had 3 Ks in 6 1/3 innings, but had these two-seamers and this 83-mile-an-hour hammer curveball. Domingo German was brilliant with 11 strikeouts in 6 1/3 innings, giving up only 1 run and 3 hits. He had these dirty breaking balls that just mowed down hitters. Now, this game wasn't without controversy, because during a foreign substance check, the umpires told Germán to go wash his hands. And I don't think this was an exact Greinke, my teammates better wash their hands after going number 2, but it was because of sticky substances. Germán's hands were apparently a little sticky, and even after washing them, he came back and they were still sticky. It's kind of hard to wipe off all sticky stuff because it's sticky. By definition, it's tough to take off. He wasn't ejected from the game because the umpires ruled that the stickiness wasn't enough to affect ball flight, and was likely rosin. Also, on the second check, the umpires said they just felt sticky stuff on Germán's pinky. And even a really sticky pinky isn't very likely to affect the spin of a baseball. And looking at the spin rate numbers from the game, it's probably true. But even before and after, the difference in the numbers isn't really all that much. Usually things like spider tack increase spin rate like 300, 350 RPMs. And I know most pitchers have made the adjustment to using rosin and sweat to get some tackiness on the baseball. The only person ejected from this game was Twins manager Rocco Baldelli for arguing that Germán should be ejected. Here's Germán talking about the incident.
When I went back out, the discussion, it was intense. There was a moment there where maybe I felt that things were gonna get out of hand, but I was able to explain and tell them, I have a rosin bag that's in the area of the dugout, where I sit all the time, and he was able to talk that over, understand, and and reason, and he was able to listen to what I was saying. He discussed that with the rest of the umpires, and they said, okay, fine, go back out there and pitch.
Now, while this sticky dispute wasn't enough to remove Germán from the game, it is enough for me not to give him the filthiest pitcher of the day, because I don't want any controversy, even if it's only perceived. So I'm going to give my filthiest starter of the day to Yusei Kikuchi. Kikuchi was really good with these wicked sliders as well as his overpowering electric fastball. He went 6 innings, had 9 Ks, nice, and gave up only 1 run on 4 hits. I love watching Kikuchi pitch, and one of the reasons why I love him is because of his joyous K struts. My man looks like the happiest pitcher on the planet when he strikes someone out. He even sometimes lets out this little happy wave. When I'm having a hard day and feeling a little down, I put on a Kikuchi K-Strut compilation, and it cheers me right up. Now onto my filthiest relievers. Caleb Ferguson had these dirty cutters. Tyler Rogers had this rising slider. Jordan Romano had these sliders and got hit on a comebacker for the last out of the game. The mark of madman is a tough dude. Yency Almonte had this absolutely gorgeous sweeper. And here's an overlay of that sweeper and his 2-seamer, and look how much ground those pitches cover. Pierce Johnson had these curveballs. David Robertson had this clock violation K, and then got a real K. What a stressful moment that is. You think you ended the game, and instead you got to do it again. But the benefit of this is you get to hear Gary Cohn say, struck him out, and the ball game is over, twice. The Mets booth is legendary. Ryan Helsley had this 102-mile-an-hour fastball and 88-mile-an-hour slider, and here's an overlay of those two, which shows you why you might swing at a slider in the dirt. Penn Murphy had these sweepers. Keegan Thompson had these filthy cutters. Brent Honeywell had this changeup and sweeper. James Karinchak picked up 3 Ks and then went full Karinchak. And the Ripper had this kill, and it may not be John Boy, but I was able to lip read this. I think I nailed it. Michael King had this filthy 2-seamer and sweeper, and here they are overlaid. That 2-seamer ran 19 inches, and the sweeper broke 17 inches. And that combo is really tough. Mark Leiter Jr., yes, Al's his uncle, and his cousin is Jack, had these dirty splitters K'ing the side. My filthiest reliever of the day was Yennier Cano for these wicked changeups. Look at the nasty drop on those at that velo. And now, my pitching ninja moment of zen. No lies were told by Peter Moylan here.
And at 100 miles per hour, that one just missed. Boy, Hernandez wanted it. He was heading to the dugout.
Maybe in Tom Glavine's day, that was a strike.
What is up, everybody? My picks of the day today are a 3-leg parlay. I'm going to start out with Grayson Rodriguez for 5 Ks or more, then take Zach Gallen for 6 Ks or more, and top it off with Shane McClanahan for 6 Ks or more. What would your picks of the day be?